referred to as targets. Garrett's exclusive Target ID technology provides two indicator scales to help identify targets. The lower scale is the AT Gold's discrimination pattern setting. These dark segments on the lower scale indicate what targets your detector will sound on. And when it sounds, a single segment will appear on this upper scale to show what you have found. The Target ID legend just above will then help you to identify the target. Ferrous, or iron, targets will indicate on the left side. Non-ferrous targets that are thin or that have low conductivity will indicate in the middle. Thick or high conductivity targets, such as thick silver, will indicate toward the right. There are 20 upper scale graphic segments for Target ID. When the AT Gold is switched into its Discrim 2 mode, notice that some of the lower scale segments disappear. The AT Gold will now only sound on targets represented by the remaining segments, but you will still see a Target ID cursor for every metallic target you find, including your discriminated targets. The AT Gold's digital Target ID system also provides a specific target value to help identify targets more precisely. Targets are identified on the LCD by number, with items with lower numbers being the most ferrous. The most conductive targets, such as thick silver, register toward the high end of the scale. The digital Target ID is a more precise version of the Target ID cursor seen in the upper scale. Notice as I pass this gold nugget in front of the search coil. The digital Target ID for this nugget reads between 51 and 53. Each Target ID cursor above has a width of 5 digital points. So you notice that the Target ID cursor is under the number 50 when the digital Target ID reads 51 or 53. This system, used in conjunction with the audio target signals, provides you with more information. It is important to understand that the AT Gold's detection depth can exceed Target ID depth. In other words, you will sometimes hear faint, deeper targets that do not provide any Target ID. Target values can vary based upon the orientation of the target in the ground, the amount of ground mineralization, and other factors. It is important to practice in the field to learn how these factors affect Target ID. This depth scale will indicate how deeply you'll have to dig to recover any coin-sized target that you find. Your AT Gold has 8 settings for sensitivity. Use higher sensitivity settings for very small or very deep targets. Use lower sensitivity levels in locations where the detector is behaving erratically. Several factors can cause your detector to appear to behave erratically,